Hello, everybody. Welcome to Pearls of Wisdom. This time again for a dark moon. We have a dark moon this Sunday. And you know that the 24th of September is something that a lot of information is out there. And I also will have a look into that chart for a moment. I really want to emphasize here again about the dark moon. People have sometimes complete a wrong information because in Western astrology, most people talk about the new moon. But when we have a dark moon, that means that the moon and the sun are in exact conjunction, that you cannot see the moon. And then the new moon will be the third day after the dark moon, when the new moon crescent comes up and is visible. So what is happening more or less in the dark moon is like female and male energy are coming together. And yes, there are only two genders, and it will be the same as long as we are living on this planet. So the female and the male energy are creating something. This is the energy coming together to create something, and the first visibility of what is being created will be afterwards on the new moon. So when we have this constellation now in Virgo, remember Virgo, we talked about it, is the sign where we harvest. It has something to do with the past. It has something to do with the seeds that have been planted. More or less time ago, long time ago, and we can see here that the Taurus, which is connected in the 12th house, here is the seed that was planted, is hidden. So what we are coming into, something that is appearing, will be plants from seeds that we don't know they were planted. And since Mars is there, we can also see that this has something to do with the male energy. Now, when you look closely here, this very massive opposition, we have it generally to Jupiter retrograde, but here is also Neptune and Chiron retrograde. And when you look at Jupiter, is exactly in the half sum between the two planets, so they also play a role. Then you can see these orange lines that form what we call a dragon form, which is very seldom. And I don't really recall that I saw a chart like this before. I see a lot of dragons, but they are made with two trines and two sextiles. So this is a complete different story. But here we have the orange line are the karmic aspects. So this again with the retrograde Jupiter means that there something is affecting the happenings in the moment that we have no recollection of. So it can be very far back, or it can be again what was hidden. And we all know by now that we have been deceived a lot in many ways, that a lot of things happen that were not really told the masses or falsified. So what is coming up now is probably so monstrous, so difficult to comprehend, that this gives karmic shock reactions. Now we have the two aspects here. One is a pain aspect, and one is more or less an aspect that points towards mistakes that we've made. Like if you look at individuals' charts, and very often in one lifetime, we cannot learn the whole lesson. And because one reason is also because we don't have our full lifetime. In this situation of the controlled world, we die way too young. We have actually a much longer lifespan, and therefore also would have a much greater chance to learn. So, but many people, they die before they have a chance to completely comprehend the lessons of one lifetime, and take it on and on and on and on again. And so we can see more or less like a red thread is like going through all this past life, that very often similar mistakes are again and again and again happening, because also because of the experience, and that we are born and have forgotten everything and have to start at the scratch again. So many people don't have the opportunity to complete the lesson, and this is one of the very difficult things, and this is why people do not remember also so far back. And it is so easy for those, I would say, those controllers. I don't think they're an elite. Elite would be something nicer. That they know that, and this is so easy to change history, because our memory is not that long, and that is what happened several times, that history has been changed. Like, you know, books have been burned, and then of course all the victors, they write history and they put it in their own way what happened. So most of the so-called history books, well, his story, we have Mars again, is also in a falsified male energy that tries to control the planet. But again, we all know that what is out of balance at one point has to come back to the other side. So the pendulum always swings in both directions, the same distance. And what is happening now is actually to help to balance the karmic aspects. But that will be a very, very difficult awakening for many, because they don't remember and don't have the recollection. And this is why many things don't make sense, especially for the masses who are just been following instructions, who have trusted in their governments and in authorities. This will be very difficult, and this will be betrayal on the very highest level once they understand that. And we all talked about cognitive dissonance before. That will happen. So it is very important that those who are awake, when things like that happen, help others to understand, help others to see that this has nothing to do, even not with the last 20 years, even if we can say that the speed up happened more or less the last 20 years, but it started way, way, way before. So we have a retrograde Jupiter in Pisces. That means we are diving into something. We have to look, stuff come up now for us. And with the retrograde Mercury also, that cannot really be said, explained, but it will really affect our being. And it is actually coming up so that the whole energy can be balanced. And I would like to go quickly to this horoscope of the 24th here. Yes, that's this one, to explain that a little bit more clear. You can see that here the world horoscope is in Libra and going into Aries, and here where we have Uranus also, this is the happening. Sixth house is connected with what is the work, and also is connected what is visible for us. So this is where we can see what is happening. Here, see, we have the square to Saturn, and we have again the two half squares are here pointing to retrograde Jupiter. So that means that they are, like, you can imagine like a backhoe digging very, very, very deep and going down and down and down, and suddenly find an old city or a skeleton or something like that. So we can very well compare it to this, that digging that is happening in the moment, that what is now highlighted. The moon right now is still in Leo, so we can also see that there is a big ego aspect is happening, but that ego aspect won't hold to full moon, to dark moon. So this is then going to be in Virgo, so that means that this ego aspect is crashing. And with all these retrograde planets, it is like a diving deep back inside of history, of the facts, not just that what is fiction and what is being told. So we can see here, we also have a couple very nice trines here from Neptune to Sun, Mars, Sun, Mercury, and Venus. And we have another one from Moon, Uranus. So this is kind of giving us a visual. It's like, you know, it's like a flashlight. When you have, like, you know, in the disco, then you have these lights going ba 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 ba, so you can see just a little bit, but not all. And then it is a little bit like this, so that lightening is coming, and you see something, that it's dark again. You see something, then it's dark again, because the darkness is our way to the comprehension. You know, we don't really comprehend what is really going on because we don't have the history for it. So this is very tricky, and this is why a lot of people will be very surprised, and it's very difficult to deal with. So already this triangle that we have here shows that it is going to be kind of a shock, that it's going to be something that is really knocking on our doors, that we cannot deny or avoid it anymore. I have a lot of information from different sources. They talk about that it might happen with weather, or that they want to manipulate the weather. But I really want to share this also with you to make sure that you understand about the reality of CO2, because they all push it on CO2. And this is no joke, setting things right. We have 0.38% CO2 in the air. Nature itself produces about 96% of this. The rest, 4%, is made by human beings, is connected with human beings. That is 4% of 0.038%, and that makes 0.00152%. So now look at these numbers. It cannot be that we have an influence on the weather because of CO2. I would say we have an influence on the weather, but it has nothing to do with CO2. And I just recently saw a live video from a physicist, and that was really funny. The guy on the TV asked him about the weather, and he clears, oh, weather, it has nothing to do with human being. And the other guy get really anxious. Yeah, but it must have something to do with human beings. He says no. So I will try to find the link to that video and put it into my text below. Anyway, it's really very clear, and it is also important. Please tell people about that. And this is a fact that you can find out. This is a scientist from Germany, Robert Imberger. He was studying reactor physics and thermohydraulics in Germany. So I did translate that article once in German, and I have actually posted as a blog in my blog page. And you find the link below too. There are a few very interesting information there too. So coming back to the astrology here, this is the big from the Sun to Uranus. You know, Sun Uranus is a constellation that is a kind of a blow up. People who have Sun Uranus constellation, like me, for example, they know what I'm talking about. I often said that with this constellation, it is like you have to run fast, because it's like somebody run behind you with a hip, and only if you're faster you can escape it. To slow down in with the constellation like that for a person is very difficult. And also when we have here the Uranus is inspiration in the highest level of consciousness. It is the connection with the divine self. It is the angelic realm or the divine realm that you can reach. But on the other hand, we have always, on all consciousness level, these planets have a meaning. And the lower level, on the negative level, it is an explosion, it can be a bomb, it can be a sudden accident, or just what happened to somebody with a strong Uranus opposition in the moment, with also Aries blood poisoning, stuff like that are happening. So it is very important to know that when Uranus coming in a constellation like that, this is something we cannot avoid. It is happening. But it depends very much on your personal consciousness level, how you gonna experience it. So now let's go back to the dark moon chart. So we can see here with this connection, we still have two trines here. That is the support. And interestingly, the support is coming from Pluto. So if we are able to face the so-called bad, if we can look at it, it will disappear. You might have heard that what you resist persists, what you look at disappears. Now, we are living in a world of polarity. There is always a yin and a yang. We are moving out of duality. Duality is connecting with judgment. Polarity is just the fact that we have day and night, that we have dark and light, that we breathe in and breathe out. But you cannot see breathing in is good and breathing out is bad. So this is just the rhythm that we're inside. And once we transform all these rhythms with our personal consciousness that we raise, there is no good and bad anymore. Now, when we look from a higher perspective, and when we look at what all the masters ever have said, is that there is no good and bad. There is just the consciousness and the experience according your consciousness. You will experience as good and bad if you are still connected with duality. The moment you step beyond, you will realize that this is a corrective that has to happen to balance. Now, I was lately thinking about that, these food plants that all have been destroyed. I start to wonder if not the Whitehead have done that, because humanity has to stop to eat this poison food. Now, if something like this is happening with the whole food stuff in the moment, that will make people think again what they eat, what they consume, what they take to themselves. And we have here for the dark moon in Virgo again, harvest, So first of all, most people, the average person, eats too much poison in the food. Second, the average person eats way too much. I have experienced that, and if I eat 2 meals a day, it's a lot. So I make sure I have enough water. Maybe I eat some fruit sometime in between, but one full meal is absolutely enough. And I take most of the things that I eat from my garden. I have chickens and ducks, and I buy some stuff sometimes, but very often I have my own food. And it is very easy to plant your own food. I mean, even if you're living in an apartment, have you ever seen the vertical gardens in front of the windows they made? It's fantastic. They have pots or made with all plastic bottles, and I have water coming in, dripping down, down, down. And in front of the windows, they have all these plants. And if you eat fresh, if you have raw things and things that really give you the nourishment that you need, you don't need much. You just need much if the whole stuff that you eat does not give you the energy that you need. And this is definitely the case with everybody who is obese. You eat the wrong food. Once you change to eat the food that give you the nourishment and the satisfaction that you need, you won't eat too much, and you will have a healthy digestive system. Beside, of course, again, we come here to consciousness, and in certain consciousness level and stress situation, we are affected also, especially with the stomach, and have problems. And this is a different story, but we can already do a lot if we start to think about it and to look at the real food, live food that we eat to give us what our body needs. There's a lot of information. Wait a second, the page of what is Sayagyi, what is his MedInfo? I have it somewhere here. There are many tips, also natural news and other things like that. You can read a lot about food and what is really good for you. The information is all there. Nobody has any more reason to say that they have no information. It's really out there. And I would say the old charts that also we still learned about, to have so and so much percent of this and this and this, that was already made, especially after the Second World War, to make us sick. Because have you ever experienced that when you eat certain food at noon, that you're very tired in the afternoon? That is not natural. If we eat the right food, we are not tired. But most of our energy has to go into the digestive system. If we have the food, especially also the combination of the food, is not good for us. So this is part of what is also happening now, and this is why these difficulties have to come up, because we need to reconsider all our habits. Since years I talk about the change your habits. Now, if you eat, for example, every morning the same breakfast, then start to eat every day a different breakfast. Make that for a week and try to figure out every day something different. I just say, for example, one day you take coffee, the other day you take tea, and the other day you take a hot chocolate or cold chocolate, and so on. Just find something that is different. By the way, chocolate, the real chocolate powder, the organic cocoa powder, is very powerful medicine. And yes, it does make you happy. So I have a recipe that I make very often in the evening. I make a hot chocolate. I make cooking water. I put it with the chocolate powder. Then I put cold coconut milk inside so that it's kind of lukewarm, and then a spoon of honey. And that really gives me the push that I need to go on, to work, to be satisfied and happy with who I am here. Now we have Chiron. This is the healer. Remember, Chiron is the one who sacrificed himself for Prometheus, who was chained on the Caucasus mountain. And during the day, the eagle ate his liver, and during the night, he grew back. Prometheus is the one who stole the fire from the gods. Now, the fire is the spirit, and Prometheus is in a way like the archetype of the human being with spirit. Before a human would have the spirit, it has no, it's more like animal-like, more slave. So this story before shows that when he stole the fire from the god, then he made himself also like a god. And this is actually what we are. We are divine beings having a human experience in this body. So Chiron is the one who sacrificed himself to free Prometheus, so humanity could be free. Now, you can find in all religious stories, you can find that sacrifice. And in a way, we could also say that's the same story about Jesus, who kind of, the myth of Jesus who died on the cross to free humanity. And we have to see that these are all metaphors, that we learn something and that we understand something. Being on the cross is being within polarity. So we are all, in a way, we are on that cross of polarity, and we have to move beyond it into unity, but we cannot move with our physical body. We have to move with our consciousness. And now, to understand what is happening. It will help if we look at the point of balance, and that we try to figure out as much what happened in the past and look at the seduction, because we have here Saturn in Capricorn connected with that dragon figure, which means that the old will die. But you know, if you have a bone from a skeleton, the DNA is there, all the memory, everything is there. So we have the memory of all of the past that we now can prepare new seed. You know, when you want to grow something, it really helps if you put the seed on a wet towel, 1 or 2 days till it sprout and plant it then. So this is kind of this seed are being sprouted to that we can create a new future with it. So this constellation that we have is kind of going to be difficult for human beings. And I also said many times, be prepared. We don't know really what happened because it depends on the consciousness level of humanity. The faster humanity's consciousness level is rising up, the faster this is over. And we can say that all the sleepers who still are connected with all the negative judging emotions are slowing us down. This is also why it is so important that the people around us who are not understanding what is happening need information, need us to help them to understand what's going on. So it's just a positive energy that can help to go faster, to go through this. And everything what is happening, remember here we have on top, we have Aquarius. Aquarius ruled by Uranus. Uranus in Aries in the 11th house, which is also Aquarius. So you can see here that whole energy field, and Jupiter exactly on 11, the whole Uranus energy, that breakthrough energy into a new paradigm is given here. But it always takes more time with human beings because it's like the seed, you know, we have to put it in the ground and we have to wait till it grows. But at one point, the moment that seed sprouts, this is that kind of explosion when the seed explodes and that little shoot can come out. This is the moment when things are happening, even if we cannot see the plant yet. And this is a similar situation like that. So it is very important that you just are ready, that you're ready for everything what is coming and not push responsibility away, responsibility. It is up to you to respond now to this situation in a positive way. We are here because we have chosen to be here. We are here because we have a mission. And all of us who are awakened and who can see what is happening and where we are going, we are here now to help to awaken all the others. This is like my teacher said, you know, I feel like I'm sitting in a big dormitory with lots of beds, and there are a lot of people sleeping, and I'm talking and talking and talking and teaching and talking, and then I see somebody stir, and then I go closer to that cot where that person lays till that person is awake. And then maybe because of the more noise, somebody else starts to stir and somebody else, until the whole dormitory of people is awake. And it is a very nice sample that he said, and I can really understand that. And this is why sometimes we have a feeling we just talk and talk and nobody's really listening. But it's not the way, because even when you sleep, the noises, you know, from super learning also, things that are outside of you, they slowly go in, and the unconscious is receiving it. So even if people don't listen in the moment and don't really understand, just talk again and again, even if they think you're crazy, that doesn't matter. But you will plant seeds that will explode and sprout at the right moment in time. It is very exceptional, this horoscope, and I do believe that something is going to happen in the next few days. So please stay tuned, but remember, it is supposed to happen that way. And it all depends on those people who are awake, those people who hold the energy for the world, how fast we will move through it. So I send you a lot of love and courage for this time to come. If you like my video, please give me a thumbs up and share it with your friends. And I will see you soon again in another video. We prepare about timelines on this Saturday. Thank you for watching, and bye-bye.